to the Fundamentals of SQL course. We are working in the SQL Statement Foundation section, and we are focusing on the in statement. So we use the in statement as a shorthand for multiple OR conditions in a where statement. So the in returns the values that match all of the values that we give in a list or within a subquery. And we'll talk about subqueries a little bit later on. But the general syntax is that we are selecting the column names from our table name, where our column name matches a list in these values. So this is going to make a little bit more sense once we start doing the examples. We're going to be using the city table from our DVD rental sample database. And we can always use the database object section and select DVD city so we can see the different types of columns that we have and their data types. So we're going to be gathering the cities from our city table, and I want to know the information from Manchester, Springs, and Moscow. So traditionally, you could write multiple OR statements. So we're going to write out both ways just so we can see the efficiency of using the in operator. So let's select all from DVD city, where our city equals Manchester. Or city equals Springs, or our city equals Moscow. So we run this, and we should get 3 rows. We get Manchester, Moscow, and Springs. Great. So we got all the information. We did a lot of typing. It's kind of messy, and especially once you get into larger SQL statements and more complex, you're not going to want to continue to write out these OR statements. So instead, let's cut this out. We can use the in statement to type in a list of our strings that we want. So we have our select all from DVD city, and we want the cities where they are Manchester, Springs, and Moscow. So we would type where city in, and we would put our cities in parentheses and quotes. We put them in quotes because they're strings, and then we separate them just with a comma. And this is the same thing as saying where the city equals Manchester, or the city equals Springs, or the city equals Moscow. So we run this, and it returns the same 3 rows as it normally would. So now let's look at another example where we need to pull the title, the description, release year, rental rate, and the rating from the film table, where our rating is PG, G, or it's PG-13. So let's think about what this is going to look like. Are we going to continue to write out multiple OR statements, or can we use the in operator to make a list? We're going to use the in operator to make a list. So let's look at our shopping list. We have our title, description, release year, rental rate, and our rating. And we're using the DVD film table, where our rating is the following values. So we have PG, G, or PG-13. Remember, since these are strings, we have to put them in single quotes. And when we're using these lists, they are separated by a comma. So we highlight this and we run it, and we get 595 rows. All of these films have a rating of either PG-13, PG, or G. If you wanted to order it in any specific way, you could always add an order by clause or limit, however which way you feel. But remember that when you use the where in clause, this is just a shorthand for the OR condition, using it multiple times. So it's not terribly inconvenient now, but once you get into more complex data sets, you will be happy that you do have the where in clause and have this skill. Thanks, and I will see you at the next lecture.